Virginia Tech head coach Robie.
All right, you guys got a little different approach, which I like. But it was fun. It was fun.
How excited are you and the guys about this match? Because I mean, you look up and down the lineup. This arguably is the best dual meet of the year.
You know, I think this is the most solid team we've ever had since I've been here. Yeah. You know, there's something special about Blacksburg, Virginia. People that come here and experience it and have went to school here, they get it. But you know, it's just one of those things you have to experience to really understand.
Do you want to go freezing cold up in State College, or you want to come down to Blacksburg and be warm? Right, that's a big sell.
It is. You don't want to get kids that want to just come for the weather, though. I can tell you that much.
Aaron and Clint, this little contest. Coach, they run this pick'em contest. No, I don't bet any money. It's all just for fun. But what this does for the sport, it's huge. And I can't say enough to you, Coach, about the tough schedule that you continually seek after. No wonder your guys are turning to rock over there.
All right, 125, folks. This is happening this Thursday, okay? Get on WrestleMadness.com, enter your bracket, and you have a chance to compete with some of the biggest names in the sport. Christian Piles, I believe you know Christian Piles, right, Coach? He's involved. Some of the biggest names are in this. So, all right, folks, welcome back to BEG Wrestling. We are here once again. Exclusive guests here. You see the BEG crew, but folks, we're here joined by Aaron from Wrestle Madness. We have a big event coming up here, big dual meet. It's the HOKIE POKEY. And you can join in on the fun at WrestleMadness.com. Folks, it's just fantasy. If you like fantasy football, you're going to love this. And Aaron, welcome to the show. You brought a special guest with you. So I want to throw it to you and appreciate you joining.
Yeah, it's my privilege to introduce Tony Robie to BEG Wrestling. The head coach. Yeah, get it up, right?
Head coach. Virginia Tech head coach Robie. Oh my goodness, welcome to the show.
So, thank you guys.
I got to share a wrestling room with Tony briefly in my D1 wrestling career at Edinburgh University. Tony came from Strong Vincent High School in Erie, so just 30 minutes down 79. He wrestled for Edinburgh and started in 92, I believe. Was your freshman year, 92, 93 season, and quickly became the staple at 158 pounds in that lineup. I always like to call it our big three in that period of time, that mid 90s era. You're coming off of a New York boy. Lou Roselli was kind of that tail end of the 80s into the early 90s, and he was actually our assistant coach when Tony was at Edinburgh. But in that mid-90s period, we had Tony, obviously, who was a huge part of that big three. We had Tom Shiflett and Jason Robeson, and they were all extremely fun to watch. But Tony was my favorite. He had quite the verbal, I guess, he'd let it rip when he took his high crotch or his double leg shot, and he was kind of buried under that opponent. He would just let out a roar and lift him up. Strongest lower back I ever saw in a wrestling match.
Well, I was going to ask you how you pulled him on here, Aaron, but now we know. But hey, Coach, we're going to talk about this dual meet coming up. But I guess before we even get started on that, in general, how's the team looking? How's the season looking?
It's good. I think up to this point, I think we've wrestled pretty well. For us, the season's all about just trying to improve and get better, and really trying to figure out where we need to get better. And we've had a tough schedule so far. We wrestled Missouri, we wrestled Rutgers, we were up at the Keystone Classic. We saw Minnesota down at App State for an event down there, and then most recently just got back from Las Vegas. So it's been good. I think I feel we have a different team this year than we have in the past, but I feel good about the way some guys are progressing. When you lose guys like Bryce Andoni and Mekhi Lewis, that's a lot of points to make up for, especially at the NCAA championships. And those guys are two high performing guys, 4-time All-American, 2-time finalist with Mackay, and then Bryce was a 3-time NCAA All-American, and somebody that scored a lot of points too. On top of that, would usually get a pin or two at the NCAAs. So, look, coming into this season, it was definitely an area where we knew we had to make up some ground there, but we've got some young guys that are wrestling well right now. Our redshirt freshman class is really good, and then we've gotten a couple of transfers that are helping us right now as well. So we're excited. We're excited about the challenge. We got a huge challenge Thursday in Stillwater. That's again, going to be a great test for us and a great evaluation point for us to kind of see where we're at and where we need to improve on, and how we can handle competing in that kind of environment.
Well, Coach, listen, you mentioned the recruiting class, and I don't know if you're familiar, Wayne, my dad here, we were talking before the show, and I think he wanted to ask you a question about this current roster, this team that you have right now.
Well, sure. I just want to say, absolutely, to my memory, Virginia Tech has never been this dangerous from the bottom to the top, and just huge kudos to you, Coach, and what you're doing down there, because that is awesome for the sport of wrestling. But you got to feel like every guy you send out there, you know what? If he wrestles this right, he could win this. Am I right?
You mean next Thursday?
Well, really, every match with what you built right now at Virginia Tech. I mean, that lineup is just lethal from top to bottom.
I think this is the most solid team we've ever had since I've been here. Yeah. We don't, like you mentioned, every one of our guys is pretty good, so I agree, but that being said, we still need to have, to do what we want to do at the end of the year. We need to have high end achievers. And that's the goal right now, is we got to keep progressing these guys that are, not that the rankings matter, but they're ranked, somewhere in that 8 to 12 range. We got to get those guys in the top 4, and if we can get a bunch of high All-Americans, you can do really well at the NCAA championships and, get bonus points and all the things that you need to do. But no, I do agree with you in terms of just, how solid our lineup is this year. It's pretty good. And we have depth in some places too, which makes it nice as well.
Well, Coach, there's no better opportunity for some of these wrestlers to break into that top 4, like you mentioned, than this Thursday and this dual meet coming up. We're still waiting on Kevin, but I don't know if we want to get into it. We have some huge matchups here, starting at 125, Ventresca and Spratley. Coach, I don't know how much you can even speak towards any of these wrestlers, but would you pick Oklahoma State to win any of these matchups? Let me ask you that.
I'm sure they'll get their hand raised in a couple places. They got a really good team. Obviously, right? I mean, that goes without saying. They look great out in Las Vegas. Wrestled great on Friday against Oklahoma. But I like our team, and we're going to have to wrestle well. And listen, I think there's going to be a lot of close matches, and we're going to have to win a lot of close matches to win this dual meet. That's just the way it is. When you wrestle good teams, and obviously Oklahoma State, they're not a good team. They're a great team, I think, right now. So we got to find a way to win those, one takedown matches, one situation matches, one scenario matches. And I think, as we talk about that, I think a lot of the matches potentially could be those, fall into that category. And 25 is definitely one of them. I think Spratley and Ventresca, two guys that are both pretty dang good. Both really tough to get to and score on. And I don't anticipate that match is going to be a blowout one way or the other. I think, it's going to be a tight one, and it could come down to the third period, and who knows. But we just got to be ready to go. We got to be ready to wrestle for 7 minutes, and we got to be ready to seize opportunities when they present themselves. And that's how you win tough matches.
Well, do you know if it's starting at 125?
I don't. That's determined at weigh-ins.
Okay.
Coach, talking about your wrestlers, everyone's favorite wrestler, Bryce Antonian, right? You get asked about him all the time. and how fun he is to watch. My question is, how difficult was he to coach?
Yeah, he was tough, man. For sure. You had to eventually accept that you got to just kind of take the good with the bad in the way that he wrestles, because it would burn him and it would bite him in the ass sometimes. But like I used to always say, you can't love it when it works and then hate it when it doesn't work, right? It just doesn't work that way, right? So Bryce, some of the he was on a lot of highlight reels, right? And he did a lot of crazy things, and he was certainly a guy that could put up some points. I mean, it was you look back at his career on some of the matches, just incredible. When he actually wrestled pretty well when he was under adversity. It was probably when he wrestled his best, in my opinion. But Bryce is still here. He's still in the room, so I get to see him wrestle. But he was definitely not the easiest guy to coach. More so just from he was really high maintenance. To be quite honest with you.
Yeah, that's what I mean. I could imagine. But hey, Kevin's in here. I know Kevin's got a couple questions, and so Kevin, welcome to the show. You finally tuned in.
Thanks. Yeah, speaking briefly about Andonian, it's funny you say that, because I made a highlight film of him wrestling Meyer, their 3 matches, and it was the craziest thing I've ever seen. It's like the whistle goes off and they just run at each other. And it's funny because it seems like a guy like Andonian, correct me if I'm wrong, it's almost like you can't really try and change him, because the things that maybe drive you crazy are the things that make him so dangerous. Would you say that's accurate?
No, without a doubt. And he did, I think in some matches he would, when he would wrestle smart and stay solid, I think it really benefited him for sure. In some matches, but I think at his core, it's just not who he is. And he had a hard time doing that for extended periods of time. And, when he did, he was tough to get to, and he could stay in there and could beat some guys, but very rarely did Bryce win a 3-2 or a 4-2 match.
Right.
He won a lot of like 20 to 12 matches, so I know he's somebody that our fans love to watch. I mean, he did a lot for our program. In addition to winning matches, just developing a level of excitement and putting people in the stands and creating a following was really cool. I mean, we'll probably be talking about Bryce 5 years from now and just how he wrestled. And people may not remember his results at the Nationals, but they'll certainly remember watching him and how he wrestled. I think wrestling needs more people like Bryce Andonian to wrestle that style. I think it would be good for the sport, and he helped build our following as a program too. So we're certainly indebted to Bryce. Bryce is still in Blacksburg with us, helping us. He's a great coach too. He's actually he's a better wrestler in the room than he is in competition. He does some things in practice, and he's a handful to deal with in practice. So he's a great guy for us to have around and to be training with our team.
One thing I really do appreciate about you and your program is you seem to have an exciting way of wrestling your team. It's almost like a really good brand of wrestling that shows excitement to the fans and the crowd. It's very rarely do you see a Virginia Tech guy in a 4-1 sudden victory match. And discuss the importance that you think of that, as far as from a fan standpoint and growing the sport, that there's actually scoring going on rather than just you're everybody waiting to move.
Yeah, do you coach that?
We definitely try to instill a philosophy where guys go out and attack and try to score points. We try to recruit kids that are good athletes that can score points. So, to a certain degree we do, but everybody's a little bit different. There were times where Mackay probably didn't score as many points as we would have liked him to, or he potentially, could have in some situation, but that was just his style. He was a re-attack guy. So, when you're a re-attack guy, it's a little bit harder to generate your own offense, especially when guys kind of catch on to where you're good. But, we definitely, I like that. I like guys that score. It's just at the end of the day, it's a lot easier too. It's a lot easier if you keep your foot on the gas And it's kind of hard for kids to learn that a little bit and to buy into that. But I think once they figure that out, you kind of realize, man, I don't need to be in a heater with 20 seconds left all the time. I mean, sometimes you do, but when you stay on the attack and you stay offensive and you keep building your lead, that third period or that last minute of the match is way less stressful, and it's typically a lot easier. You should have the philosophy that the last minute of the match should be easier than the first minute of the match for you. And if you go out and you stay on guys and you attack, I think that's typically the case. Now obviously when you're wrestling great opponents, sometimes that's a little bit different, but that's what people want to see. That's what fans want to see. And really that's what the best wrestlers in the country do. I really believe that at the NCAA championships, it's hard to win a bunch of 1-point matches, and I call it backing into a win. It's hard to back into wins. You can do it here and there, and you can do it in dual meets, but at the NCAAs, if you want to win, you got to win 5 matches, and to back into 5 wins, that's really hard to do. It's just the odds aren't on your side, and it's just a whole different environment. And I think taking risk is rewarded more there than it is anywhere else. And that's the ultimate goal, is for us to have success at the NCAA championships and have our guys, hopefully win titles or get on the stand a bunch of times and be multiple time All-Americans.
Okay. Coach, you mentioned that you're recruiting that style kid, an aggressive style kid. I have to ask you, how ruthless is the recruiting landscape out there now? I mean, we hear it's pretty ruthless.
I don't know. I mean, we haven't, for us, we just basically go out and sell our product and develop relationships with kids and their families and try to sell them on what Blacksburg, Virginia, what Virginia Tech, what our program has to offer. So, and we've been successful doing that. I don't know that being ruthless or whatever you want to call it is always beneficial to you. I think people in families want to know that their kids are going to a place where they're going to get taken care of. We're going to take care of our guys, and we've had a lot of success recruiting, especially at the high school level. We don't necessarily play the transfer game quite like other schools do, and I don't, not that we won't look at transfers and take transfers, but I highly doubt we're ever going to have 6 or 7 transfers in our lineup at any time. We're in the game of developing elite level or recruiting elite level high school kids and selling them on Virginia Tech, getting them to buy into what we're about and being a part of our program, for the long haul. We call it being a Hokie for life. And we want these guys to be Hokies for life, and we want them to get here, and we want them to develop, and we want them to, just feel really good about what we have to offer them. And there's, the game has certainly changed a lot. There's no question about that. And retaining guys and all the other things that, are getting a little bit wild in our sport right now. But I think we've been pretty successful in our model, and I don't anticipate it changing a whole lot.
Coach, you still bang in the room?
Right way.
Pardon me?
Do you still bang with the boys in the room?
Wrestle with them about twice a year. I jump out there and then I get hurt. And, so I've been, I just turned 50, so not a whole lot, but I can still scrap for 4 or 5 minutes occasionally.
50 years old, you don't look 50.
165-pound match.
Go ahead, Aaron. I was just gonna say, Coach, I think you're doing it the right way with how you're recruiting over there. So,
thank you. I appreciate it. Yeah, we're gonna stick to what's been successful for us.
If you could pull this win off at 165, that'd be huge. You got to at least keep it in the ballpark. We can't give up bonus points in that 165 match. Is there a strategy per se when you're dealing with an athlete like Amin? How you keep that match in the ballpark?
Well, I don't know that's kind of what our approach is going to be. I want Mac to go out and wrestle to win. And I think regardless of the outcome, and if if that means it doesn't go great, whatever, we're wrestling matches to win matches. That's how you get better. that's ultimately what's gonna get Mac to what his ultimate goals are. I think he's just got to go out and wrestle his match, and try to get to the legs and finish takedowns, and wrestle for 7 minutes. That's really what the key is for Mac.
How about are you giving Mac the exact same final words before he goes out on the mat than that you are, say, Caleb Henson? Same words of advice, or is that different? And if so, how?
I don't think strategically it's different. I mean, we don't before they step on the mat, man, we just want to make sure they're ready to go and they're ready to wrestle hard and they're focused and they're dialed in. And it's not really the appropriate time to talk about strategy or technique. We don't want to get them really thinking at that particular point. We just want them to go out and focus on giving great effort and wrestling really hard. So yeah, essentially, I think the message is the same right before they go out on the mat. For everybody.
That's interesting.
Have you gotten an idea? Go ahead, Wayne.
I'm just curious. Let me ask something, Coach. Quick, Coach. Is there a lot of film study after each match? Is that a big part of breaking down every single little match and looking, hey, let's work on this. See how we missed this right here? Is that a big part?
We definitely watch film. I don't know that we're obsessive about watching film. I do think it's valuable, and I do think there's a lot you can learn. I think it's more important to watch your own film, right? And continue to focus on yourself and, the areas where you need to get better, what you could have done differently. There's definitely an aspect of that where our coaches sit down with our guys and watch practice a lot of times. And, we have video practice, and then also watching our matches for sure. And then watching even some matches from the past where, maybe you did some things well, you wrestled really well. We'll watch maybe a little bit of film on our opponents move, as we approach, match day a little bit, and just in terms of what we need to be aware of, what their tendencies are as a team, and what their tendencies are individually. And, if they're big move guys, obviously there's some things you definitely need to be aware of for sure. But, when you go out there and if you're just focused on what that guy's going to do, and, you kind of get paralyzed. And I don't think that's typically a winning endeavor.
How excited are you and the guys about this match? Because, you look up and down the lineup, this arguably is the best dual meet of the year. It's not just, everyone's talking about 125, but top to bottom, every single matchup is absolute fire when you're looking at this dual meet.
Yeah, I don't know that we're going to approach it a whole lot different than we approach other teams or matches. I think you have to get in the habit of approaching everything the same way, and, having the same kind of mental focus, mental preparation, physical preparation, stay really, develop what your process should look like. For me, I want to see what I'm really, I think is going to be valuable for us is to wrestle in a really tough environment where we're not at home. We have a great environment at home at Coliseum, and we get great crowds, and it's loud and people are rowdy, but they're on our side. So we haven't wrestled in anything like that. And I know, in Stillwater, it's going to be, their fans are going to be rowdy. They're going to be on us, so like that's something you have to get some practice at, and you have to learn how to handle that and maintaining your composure and really just focusing on what's important for you to focus on, and really, kind of blocking out the things that aren't going to help you or aren't important to your success in that match. And so that's, for me, we got some young guys too, that, potentially could be stepping out on the mat. So they haven't really wrestled in that kind of environment in at least a couple years. So that's going to be really, really valuable for us. But yeah, we're certainly excited for the challenge. It goes without saying, guys know, they know what the opponent looks like, and but I think from a coaching standpoint, we can't make a huge deal out of it. We just have to go out there and approach it the same, and really just continue to focus on giving great effort and wrestling really smart and wrestling really hard.
Okay, so you mentioned you have some young wrestlers getting ready to step on the mat. You're going into a hostile environment. Obviously, you're the coach. You're the leader of the team. However, who is the leader in the locker room, like among the wrestlers? Often we just assume it's the best wrestler on the team. Is that the case in Virginia Tech?
I think Caleb has really developed into a great leader for us. He's only in his third year here at Virginia Tech. Obviously, has had a lot of success. And I think when Caleb talks, people listen, and it's not just because of the success he has had, but it's also just the way he approaches every part of his life and every part of wrestling, and how intelligent he is, and his ability to compete. And he's got an uncanny ability to go out there and compete hard and to maintain his composure. He's won on the biggest stage, so Caleb is definitely the guy I think that our team looks to for leadership. We've got some young guys that will grow into that role for sure, and you can kind of see it blossoming at a young age for some of these guys. But right now, he's the guy.
I know we're high on
leads into what I wanted to bring up or ask you about. The two national champions that you've had in the last few years here, starting with Mackay and then Henson, who incidentally won me the Madness OGs bracket by picking him to win. But yeah, I do have to throw that in there. But does that make your job easier, having that tradition beginning where you have back-to-back national champions in your room that can kind of lead the rest of the crowd?
Yeah, I think so. I think it normalizes it, right? I know, when I was at Edinboro, we hadn't had a national champ in a long time. They had one in program history, and it was somebody, Sean O'Day, who was, we didn't even know. So I think sometimes when you don't have that, you kind of look at that goal as something that's, I don't want to say impossible, but it's a lot easier, and it seems a lot more attainable when, the guy in the locker next to you has accomplished that. Right. And, I think for our guys, it helps in that sense. And, it just kind of helps raise the bar on what the expectation is. It certainly helps in recruiting. When you get a national champ, and then when you get two national champs, I mean, these kids that we're recruiting want to know that they can accomplish that. And not only can they accomplish it, they can accomplish it multiple times. And then, that they can go on and in a lot of cases, accomplish their international goals. So yeah, you can't really understate how important that is for your program. And it's something that we need to do on an annual basis, in my opinion, if we want to get to where we're trying to go.
Speaking of Edinboro, what is it about Virginia Tech that has you sold as far as, continuing your coaching there? Because I know they had an opening about, 7 years ago or so. So and I know a lot of guys like to go back to their alma mater to coach. So what was it about Virginia Tech that sold you, and do you sell the same kind of thing to the recruits that you have coming in? Because like we said, the 3 recruiting classes you guys have coming in are probably better than anyone else's 3 recruiting classes for those 3 years. It's unbelievable.
Yeah. So I guess part of the reason, that you talked about going back home, I don't know if you saw, Edinboro just got 6 feet of snow, or Erie did. They got 6 feet of snow, and then they were calling for another 12 to 18 inches. It's like, I don't know why anybody would want to live up there. No offense. And my whole family still lives up there. So there's no way in the world, after living in Virginia for 18 years, that I'm going back to deal with that. I grew up in Erie. I went to Edinboro. I dealt with it for a long, long time. I wouldn't trade it. It was a great experience. It definitely teaches you a lot about suffering. But I'm done with that. If anything, I'm going further south. So
I hear that. Yeah. I hear that. Yeah.
and I'm fortunate. Virginia Tech's a great place. Blacksburg, Virginia, if you guys have never been down here, it's not a hard sell for us. Our campus is incredible. We get people down here. You take them around on the golf cart around campus. You go downtown. This is a phenomenal place to go to college. In my opinion, of schools that offer wrestling, it's among the best, maybe the best place in the country to go to school. Just quality of life, all the things that make your life great and make it a great place to go to school. And then I think, and we sell that as kind of the icing on the cake. We want to find kids that want to be great at wrestling and think that they can do that here at Virginia Tech, and think that our culture and our coaching and the training partners, and the track record is going to allow them to do that. And then you combine that with the fact that we have a great location. We're about 6 hours from most places on the East Coast. So, we can go up to New Jersey and we can get kids out of New Jersey, and they can, their parents can drive down here for a match. Caleb's from Atlanta. So, Ohio, we've had a lot of success in Pennsylvania. Pittsburgh's only 5.5 hours tops away. So the Lehigh Valley is about 6.5 hours. So, we're able to kind of go into a lot of those areas for kids that don't maybe want to go really, really far away from home. And it's manageable, and then you factor everything else in. It does make it a pretty easy sell. And, we've been fortunate. I've had a lot of continuity on my coaching staff here with Jared Freyer, who's the associate head coach, who's really done a fantastic job helping us build this thing and helping me build this thing, and deserves a lot of the credit as well. So, and I think part of the draw for him is that, he loves living here too. We all live about a mile from campus, and, that you don't get that at a lot of places. So there's something special about Blacksburg, Virginia, people that come here and experience it and have went to school here. They get it, but, it's just one of those things you have to experience to really understand.
I'm from upstate New York, so I live in Rochester, New York, so I know all about the snow.
I was going to say, I never even thought about that. I mean, honestly, is there a southern-more school than Virginia Tech that has a better wrestling program? You have to be the southernmost, right? You tell all these recruits, do you want to go freezing cold up in State College, or you want to come down to Blacksburg and be warm, right? That's a big sell.
It is. You don't want to get kids that want to just come for the weather, though. I can tell you that much. They're just coming for the weather and, the social life. It's in the football games. They're probably not going to do well in wrestling, but it's like I said, it's kind of the icing on the cake. And as much as anything, it's just it's a really cool place to live. We're right in the mountains. And a lot of kids just really seem to want to come to school here. It ranks always, they do these, you see these rankings for like best quality of life at colleges, and Virginia Tech's always really high up there.
Yeah. Well, Coach, you're doing great things. You're doing it the right way. I do want to run through these Wrestle Madness matchups. I know you can't answer, but you can tell us maybe if we're wrong anywhere, but we'll go around the horn at each weight class real quick to give our predictions. We'll start with me, and then we'll go Aaron, Kevin, and my dad. We'll go around the horn here, okay? And Coach, you just chime in anytime you want, and then we'll let you get back to serious business coaching. But all right, 125, folks, this is happening this Thursday, okay? Get on WrestleMadness.com, enter your bracket, and you have a chance to compete with some of the biggest names in the sport. Christian Piles, I believe you know Christian Piles, right, Coach? He's involved. Some of the biggest names are in this, so. Get in, 125 at Spratley Van Treska. Right now, I got Spratley winning by decision. Sorry. Aaron, what do you got?
I'm going to go VT here. I think the gas tank's a little bigger on Van Treska, and he's going to outlast him.
Wow, plus you're worried, Coach, he can come over there and beat you up. All right, Kevin, who's your pick?
I do have Van Treska, actually, by decision.
Wow. All right. Dad, who's yours?
Okay, I'm going Spratley, but I got to take this moment to say, Aaron and Clint, this little contest, Coach, they run this pick'em contest. Now, I don't bet any money. It's all just for fun. But what this does for the sport, it's huge. And I can't say enough to you, Coach, about the tough schedule that you continually seek after. No wonder your guys are turning to rock over there.
I appreciate it. Thank you, guys. And I listen, I'm just going to shut up and let you guys pick, all right? You guys, not much for predictions. We're just going to go out there and wrestle. So you guys do your thing.
and come back after the duel and tell us where we were wrong, right? All right, 133. I got McNoggle decision. Aaron, what do you got?
Same.
Okay. Kevin?
I got McGonigal all day, and like I said, he was an overtime takedown away from things being completely different in that Crookham match. People forget how good he is. So he's a contender this year.
Great point.
Same for me.
All right. 141. It's either Latona or Crook up against Jameson. I have Jameson taking a decision here. Aaron?
Same for me as well. Latona, I like Latona. I think he's a great wrestler to have in your lineup. Solid. But yeah, I think Jameson might have a little more.
Okay. Kevin?
A little more in his bag.
Same here.
Same. Dad?
Well, this is one of the matchups. We're going to get surprised on some of these matchups. And it's hard for me to pick against Latona. It really is. But I'll go Jameson, but I don't feel good about it.
Okay. All right. Moving on, 149.
I don't feel good about it either. I don't like your predictions there.
All right, but hey, we're moving on 149. It's Caleb Henson. I got to say, I got him by fall, baby. Let's go, Caleb Henson.
Oh, you're taking the fall.
Let's go. So you got to make a difference somewhere.
Yeah. Yeah, he's my boy, right? He's my boy, so I definitely have him. I have a major in.
Okay. Kevin?
Yeah, I think it's going to be a bigger gap than it was last time, and a major for sure.
All right, Dad.
Bonus points.
Bonus points.
I don't need to say the name.
Yeah, you just know. He's the leader in the locker room. 157, Hippolito up against Fish or Teague Travis. I'm going Hippolito here. Decision.
Yeah, I really like what Hippolito's doing. I think he pulls this one off too. It's going to be a battle, but
Kevin?
Andonian 2.0. Hippolito.
Okay. Hey, Coach, is that maybe makes sense? That comparison?
There's some similarities. They're both fun to watch. It's different. It's it's a little bit different, but they both have some tremendous hips, and both guys that have just really unique skill set that can come out of some stuff that normal people can't come out of. They're I think it's fair to make that comparison.
All right, there's something to that. All right, Dad, what do you got?
I agree with. I'm going Hippolito, and I agree. That dude's fun to watch.
Yeah, I know you're high on Hippolito. All right, it takes us to 165. It's the aforementioned Mac Church or Connor Brady up against Cam Amin. I got to go Cam Amin. I'm going regular decision.
yeah, I was hoping for a little more reassurance from Coach there, but I'm going to have to go major decision for Amin.
Ooh, shots fired.
Ooh.
Is Amin capable of major decisions?
Yeah, I don't know. That's true.
I do. I think I like
matches
Amin by decision, but I think it's going to be a good match for sure.
Okay. And
Yeah, and I got to go with Mean too, but I will say this freshman's going to be something, and it's going to be interesting to see, especially under coach. I got good thoughts of what we're going to see out of that kid coming.
Okay. All right. Takes us 174. Is this the premier matchup of the night? Arguably, Lennox Woolock, Dean Hamidi, folks. Number 3 and number 4. I'm going crazy. I'm going Woolock. Coach has sold me, right? Come on. What are you doing, Aaron? Who are you going here?
I like it.
Yeah, I'm going Oklahoma State here.
Ooh, boo.
It's gonna be a battle. I think this and the 125 match are the two premier matches, but I think Oklahoma State ekes this one out.
Kevin.
Zach, I'm with you, buddy. I think that Hamidi's been playing with fire lately. He had that 1-point match with Lorenzo, and then they had the close match with Gavin Sachs. And Woolack, man, he has that leg pass down. He's so hard to take down. He frustrated O'Toole for quite a while. I think he's going to pull the huge upset.
So you're saying Hamidi, maybe he's been backing in to some of these victories like we talked about earlier? Hey,
yeah, I think so.
Dad, who you picking here?
Zach, all I got to say is, what are you doing here? The uncomfortable position you put me in, right here in front of the coach, and I'm supposed to pick against his team? Well, I almost have to here. Although this is going to be fun to watch, I will go Hamidi here.
All right. Takes us to 184. I guess TJ Stewart up against Dustin Plott. I do have to go Dustin Plott here. Regular decision.
Yeah. Plott might be the, if you didn't have Keckeisen in that weight last year, he's probably a national champ. I'm going to go
Be a
Plott.
tough one. Going to be a tough one, Kevin.
Yeah, I'll go Plott, but I think that TJ Stewart's season is about to turn around. It's on the horizon. What a great match to do it if he could. I'll take Plott by decision, but I'm rooting for Stewart to get things rolling.
All right. Dad, wrap it up, and then we'll move to 197.
I'm with you. I'm going Plott, but I also think we're going to see TJ Stewart just start to head up. I remember him last year at Nationals, and I didn't really even know who the kid was at this point. My next thing you know, my jaw's open. Who is this? So don't be surprised if you get surprised come that match, is all I'll say. But I'll go Plott for right now.
Okay, takes us 197. Andy Smith or Sonny Sasso up against Luke Serber. And, I'm pretty high on Sonny Sasso. But I'm actually going to go Serber because I don't even know who's wrestling. I can't, if it's Sasso or if it's Andy Smith. To me, I guess I got to make a safe pick with Serber here. Decision.
Yeah, I got a decision for either Virginia Sac wrestler.
Wow.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, Smith just beat him. He'll do it again. If he wrestles. It's in Sasso, I feel the same.
Yep, and I'm a huge Smith fan. I am not picking against him. I love how he wrestles. I'm going Smith.
What
Or
I'm
with you guys. If it turns out to be Sasso, I think Sasso could do it too, but I think it'll be Smith.
Wow, I can't believe I was the only one way off on that one. All right, 285, let's wrap it up. It's Hendrickson up against either Katka or Jimmy Mullen. Obviously, Wyatt, one of the top heavyweights in the country. I'm going with Wyatt Hendrickson by fall. Coach, I'm sorry.
I forgive you. That's not personal.
Major decisions. I'm not going to give him a fall, but I'm going major decision.
Okay.
For Hendrickson.
Can I just let you guys know after the broadcast? Is that cool?
Yeah, I don't think so, Kevin.
I'll do Hendrickson major. I'll do Hendrickson major.
Okay. And Dad.
Yeah, and I'm going Hendrickson major, but this duel is. Kevin said it. I kind of agree. This is right there as one of the best duels of the league.
Coach, if you can manage to pull this off, we just announced Oklahoma State is the number 2 team in the nation. People have been saying it's Iowa. They're wrong. It's actually Oklahoma State. If you're able to pull this off in a hostile environment with this young squad, I would say kudos. Right, Kevin? That's what I would say if you're able to pull
That's right. Kudos.
But, folks, go to Wrestle Madness. This is happening Thursday, so you got to get your picks in before then. And, Coach, I want to just thank you for joining us. Aaron, thank you for setting us up. Kevin and Dad, thank all you guys for joining in here. So, Coach, give you a chance for any final thoughts here.
Nothing, man. I appreciate you guys having me on. Enjoyed it. All right, you guys got a little different approach, which I like. But it was fun. It was fun.
You're gonna have to start watching us from now on.
You guys have more often. I don't watch a lot of shows like this though. So, but I could get into this for sure.
Okay, that's what I'm talking about.
Okay, Coach, this might not be totally true, but I'm bragging to the family at Christmas time that me and Coach Tony Robie are close. We're like this here.
Wait, can we call you one of our guys? Can you be a my guy? Some other podcasts do that.
Yeah. No, thanks so much for Coach. We really appreciate it. I've been really excited to speak to you, and I love what you're doing, and your recruiting is top notch, and we really look forward to seeing you keep going with the program. So thank you.
He's doing it the right way, folks. Virginia
Absolutely.
Tech head coach Robie. Appreciate you coming on the show. And Aaron, appreciate you setting us up. Folks, go to Wrestle Madness
Thanks,
now.
Aaron.
Get your entries in. Get your
Thanks,
picks
Coach.
in.
Good luck.
This dual meet is happening. Go to BEG Wrestling, like and subscribe. Thank you, Coach. Until next time.
Awesome, guys. Thank you.